Hey guys, I just wanted to talk about something that's been weighing on my mind pretty heavily recently. I wanted to talk about furries and our relationship with sexual intimacy. The furry fandom is a safe space for many to express themselves sexually without fear or judgment. While this has many upsides, it also has its downsides, and can enable unhealthy behavior. While we may be aware of this unhealthy behavior, sexual assault, consent being of utmost importance before every sexual encounter, in my experience, I noticed that we haven't done much to dig deeper into what causes it, or why it happens, or the effect that negative sexual experiences can have on individuals. There has to be a reason why one would engage in this unhealthy behavior, and I will share why I myself have engaged in this unhealthy behavior. I'm going to apologize in advance for this next part. I'm going to be opening up about a lot of past trauma that I've experienced, and it's going to be very difficult for me to speak eloquently about this, so bear with me. It all started when I was 14. I grew up in a narcissistic household as the scapegoat. The internet was my only escape from this. Unfortunately, I found out about sex around the age of 12, and eventually got groomed by furries when I was 14, with the initial intention of trolling them. I RP'd as a furry femboy because I thought it was funny. But what started as a joke became my reality, and the center of receiving validation as another human being. Sexual interactions became my primary, and frankly only source of external validation. I had zero self-validation skills. I lied about my age to receive it, and the people I did tell my age to, half of them still continued to interact with me sexually. I threw out my self-dignity just to keep receiving this validation, all up until a couple weeks ago. That's pretty much the short version of it. I've been groomed, sexually assaulted, and raped multiple times. If I had any semblance of self-dignity, I very well could have avoided all of that trauma, and that's why I want to make this video. Sexual trauma may be more common in the furry fandom than spoken about. It can be hard to open up about these topics without fear of being judged, or for it to be too emotionally painful to speak on. I hope to destigmatize talking about this, to maybe add a different perspective on these issues, as well as help people like me not feel so lonely in their struggles. I mentioned earlier that I have thrown my self-dignity out to receive this form of external validation. By extension, I lacked the self-worth and self-respect to recognize that what I was doing wasn't really what I wanted. I've always known that I've lacked self-worth and self-respect, but I didn't know how to properly rebuild these things for myself. Every attempt I made to rebuild these things for myself was futile, at least for me. When I tried to do research into how to build these things back up again, I heard cookie cutter answers like taking care of your basic needs, valuing who you are. But who am I? So I decided to do a bit more deeper of research. And I found that, apparently, self-dignity is the foundation to these two aspects of one's ego. To have self-worth and self-respect, you require self-dignity. And what is self-dignity? I have a responsibility to mention that I am not a licensed mental health professional. I conducted my own research on this topic, and frankly, it wasn't really that much. However, I've noticed that it has helped me. Maybe it can help you. This is a very confusing thing to talk about. Oftentimes, self-respect and self-dignity are used interchangeably, but they are different. I'd just like to point out that I've already made this mistake myself in this very video. So let's clarify so that we're on the same page. Self-dignity is something that you're born with. It can't be taken away. You can only fail to recognize it in yourself. This article I've read from Psychology Today says, dignity is our inherent value and worth as human beings. Everyone is born with it. So to reiterate, this is something you will always have with you. It's something that no one can take away. However, it is something you can fail to recognize in yourself. And for the longest time, I failed to recognize it in myself. So what is self-respect? We know that respect is earned and not given. We know that it's earned through your actions, how you treat others, and how you let them treat you. So self-respect should be easy to understand. It's how you treat yourself. So we know what self-dignity is, and we know what self-respect is now, and we can tell the differences between the two. But what is self-worth? This article from Positive Psychology describes self-worth as the intrinsic belief in one's own value, independent of external achievements or validation. It also goes on to say that self-worth is unconditional. To build self-worth involves practicing self-compassion, recognizing inherent value, and challenging negative self-perceptions. When I had a better grasp of what these things mean, I could finally start to build them up for myself again. You don't have to make any major changes. You can start by taking care of your basic physical needs, feeding yourself, practicing hygiene, and that includes sleep hygiene, making sure that you get enough rest and quality rest. When I started doing these things for myself, I realized that I can trust myself more, and in turn, it makes it easier for me to trust others. How are you meant to trust others when you can't even trust yourself? Now that I have these things and I've built them up enough in myself, I find it easier to say no. I find it easier to recognize when I don't want something and to say no, and to advocate for myself. My low self-esteem doesn't have as much of a negative impact on me mentally as it used to. I have more of a grip on who I am, what my values are. I understand more deeply that I do have something to contribute to the world, that I do have value as a human being. I know now that I am worth more than my sex appeal. I am fully aware now what I value from sexual interactions. So what do furries really value from sex? On the surface, sex is extremely sensationalized within our community. More specifically, lust. And it's very easy to get caught up in lust. We are, after all, a very sexually open community, and it is a part of our culture to share our lust with each other. However, I think it's important to recognize that there is no obligation to do this. And I would like to circle back on using sex for external validation. On the surface, when you explore the After Dark side of furry Twitter, and I only speak on this because this is where a good 90% of my experiences are with this, and I've also participated in it. On the surface, it seems largely performative. People are committing sexual acts for likes on this website. It can be hard to tell if this is for artistic passion or for external validation. I would like to look at this through an optimistic lens. Furries are very artistically expressive. It is probably what we are most well known for. However, I would just like to bring attention to the fact that for some, this isn't the case. For some, the likes they get on Twitter by committing sexual acts are their only form of external validation, or their primary source of external validation. But again, I would like to express that in most cases, this probably isn't what's going on. So I'd like to ask again, what do furries really value from sex? I asked my community, and here are the responses I got.
Not gonna lie, I was pretty quiet and unconfident kid in high school and middle school. So I think sex in the fandom, now that I have that confidence, just brings me, I guess, dopamine. Makes me feel like, you know, people actually, I can actually make people happy. It's weird to say.
My name is Tilly. I am a little bit of a slag, and I value pleasure from sex mostly. Like, the closeness is good, but if I'm being honest, yeah, pleasure, feeling good, coming, that's definitely what I value. Cheers, see ya.
Minute Me says, I value personal connection. I won't just have sex with anyone. I need a personal, emotional connection. I purposely find people with kind and nice personalities. Julie, or is it July? Should probably ask them about that. Julie says, I would say that I value the love, since it's quite a different way to show love to your partner. This anonymous answer says, I value making sure the other person gets enjoyment out of it, even if that means I don't get any enjoyment out of it. This anonymous answer says, well, I mean, I don't really have a stance on it, in my opinion, because it varies from person to person. Sex isn't everything, and it's not something I personally look for at all, honestly. I just like to vibe. This anonymous answer says, I really value trust, and knowing in that time and space it's just me and someone special sharing a special moment. Trust especially. Ellie answered, overall, this is indeed a solution to a lot of unhappiness. Feeling loved or attractive is good for the body and also for the morale. But as I said, it's important not to say that it's a need. I consider it more of a desire than a necessity for living happily. So, enjoy it in moderation so that it doesn't become some kind of uncontrollable urge and turn you into someone who thinks only about satisfying that need constantly. Kari answered, what I really value from sex is half the emotional aspect that can bring people closer, and half the fun aspect that can be shared with others. Sex to me is almost like a mutual bonding thing. This anonymous answer says, I'm answering this as someone who is ace, but definitely has varying levels of intimate/kinky thoughts about certain friends, depending on my level of trust and compassion. Seeing someone you treasure the company of reach a level of pleasure that only you can provide, and sharing/feeding off each other's lust, is a feeling that is hard to describe. It's special and sticks with me, and just shows a level of comfort I value tremendously in being able to explore those parts of yourself with someone. Coda answered, making someone I care about happy/feel appreciated or good. Immersed answered, I value the connection. Sex brings you closer to the person and can make it easier to open up to the person. This Fur answered, really value? Honestly, every bit of it. The touching, the pleasure, the pleasing, getting pleased, horniness, kinkiness, the satisfaction, the build-up, the climax, the cuddles afterwards. But especially being able to share that experience with someone I truly care about. Franz answered, intimacy. Because when someone knows me or trusts me enough to let me have sex with them, it just feels good. Of course, it doesn't feel as intimate with someone who is very open and down with pretty much anyone. Still feels pretty nice, but not quite the same. Because when you do it with someone who is more reserved, it feels more rewarding, and it makes me feel like I mean something to them. Of course, there are things that I find way more important than sex, but it's one thing that can help if it's with certain people. So in short, intimacy. He goes on to say, yes, it does feel more intimate with someone who is more reserved, but even if you do it with someone who is very open, the closer you two are to each other, the more intimate it feels, and therefore, better it feels. And of course, nothing beats sex with that special someone. It is always better than with anyone else. This Fur answered, I guess the intimacy, really. Having sex with someone you love, feeling secure in their arms, the after-sex cuddles with forehead kisses and Netflix. Sure, yeah, friends with benefits do all that too, but with a romantic partner it just feels so much more intense, so much more real. Mara answered, funnily enough, I don't really have that much sex. When I do though, I want both parties to be satisfied equally, and also have both boundaries be respected. Wes answered, sex is fun, but also a connection. It is difficult for me to finish because of my meds, but my goal is the other person's fun and whether they get off. It must be the soft top part of me. It means more to me if they are friends, and close ones at that. I find it difficult to do hookups because of that. It means I must be demi, but sexuality is hard to break down for me. Van answered, my value from sex? I want to feel. Know that what I do is with emotion. Love and care for the other person, showing that I appreciate him or her, and I would give all of me. But to the warmth and comfort it gives knowing that someone desires you sexually. But if the emotions of each other are true, the safety that gives doing it and being in the arms of that person, being able to feel each other, is something unique. Christy answered, I don't think I really approach sex with an expectation per se. Most of the time it's really just me trying my best to satisfy the other person involved. I guess you could argue it's a way of getting closer to someone and be more intimate, but I feel like sex is only a small fraction of that, compared to actual emotional bonding. This verse says, I consider sex something different than making love. That is my personal view, but I'll touch on both. First, sex in real life. Sex to me is a physical act between two or more people who will only reply as just one person going forward for ease typing-wise. Originally, I didn't really need any kind of connection with the person. To me, it was just sex. Pleasure was the goal and nothing more. Now, however, just sex by itself feels almost hollow, I would say. Just having it with someone without any connection would absolutely grant me pleasure in the moment, but after, I'm pretty sure I would feel just alone or lacking. Not saying I wouldn't have a good time. Absolutely would enjoy myself, but it's an in-the-moment thing at that point. This is all assuming no connection at all. So at this point, I personally don't look for said mentioned with no connection at all. Now, if there is a connection, like an actual friend, that I could do. But I can also keep as just friends with benefits in my head, and nothing more if that's the situation. I feel, could be wrong, that not many can do that as easily. VRC sex is a bit different. It is the same to a point that I would prefer some kind of connection with the person, but it's less as needed in my head. I don't get the same hollow feeling if I meet someone without close connection and being really hollow. I can enjoy myself without the worry of that, plus can still keep this as just sex, making love. Made a point to make a difference between this and just sex. Making love is something that has not just a connection but actual feeling for, and also feelings from the other person. It isn't just alone a physical pleasure, but it's emotional pleasure and support. This also extends to VR. For me, this is something that's done between people who have feelings on a romantic level. It may seem the same as sex with friends with benefits to most, since there is a connection, but that's like calling a friend acquaintance versus partner or lover, if that makes sense. Doesn't mean making love is just gentle or rough. It's just the act, how the sex is performed between the two, is a medium for the value is all. As for the value, I feel I need to answer the value for the last part. It's the connection, the feeling of security and trust. It's a bond and act that helps bring people together and both can enjoy on multiple levels. I want to know my partner gets me, and I get them. I don't know how I feel about sex, Lamau. You know what? This is a perfectly fucking valid answer, because I relate to this one heavy. I'm still figuring shit out, and that's okay. If you're still figuring shit out, that's okay too. I'm gonna leave you with the rest of this Apex match in case you were curious about how it ended. But if there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, it's that no matter what you value from sex, you should value yourself first. Take care of yourself, and see you later. He baited me! Again, bro. Again. Again. Again.
Good work. We're inside the next ring.
I mean, we should have camped that, but that's okay. What's going on in there? I have no idea what's happening. I'm popping an old XL. Heal! Valk, please heal.
They're trying to corner us.
Charging on my shield.
Okay.
Give my shields a reach. Shield core here. Level 3.
Watch yourself. There's another squad attacking. Enemy spotted. Made a hit.
We're inside the ring. Got the positional advantage. Shield core here.
Target
Level 3.
Don't try grabbing that trajectory.
Whoa! Whoa, whoa! Whoa, buddy.
Bogey's hurt. Bogey over there. Enemy over there.
There is a team over there. We have to be worried about them rapping on us.
Bogey's hurt. Fox 3, visual clear. Good go. Throw my grenade out.
Yes, I'm trying this hard, chat, because I don't trust these guys. Yeah, fuck you, man. Why are you... You guys are holding outside his zone, by the way. Oh!
Shield core here. Level 3.
Oh, you're lucky, bitch. Yeah.
Giving him the chimney.
Yeah, use all my fucking shield swaps, dude.
Give my shields a recharge.
Care package over there.
There's a team in that building, by the way.
Stay focused.
Target over there.
These guys aren't trying to push us, are they? Oh, they are. They're gonna see that my health is low and maybe push. Nope.
Contact with enemy. In progress. Padlocked a bandit.
Hmm.
Taking fire. Charging on my shield.
Bro. Bro. Oh my God, bro. Get off my ass.
Sending it home.
Look at me covering for my teammates' mistakes, bro, as Bangalore. She's so fucking good. I suck.
Patching myself up.
Scratch that. Bogey in sight. Reloading.
Bogey there.
Why am I missing a shield core? Where'd it go? Oh my God, bro. Controller brain.
Target spotted.
Nice shot.
1 minute. Ring's not far. Bandit down.
Throwing arc siren.
Arc's firing.
Taking shots.
Listen, let's move that way.
Bogey's shield. Reloading.
Hostile over there.
45 to go. Enemy spotted.
Placing a portal. We're close. Portal's ready.
What are you doing, brother?
Another squad's attacking.
Nice.
Focus. Enemy shield.
That's an interesting port.
2 other squads left.
Recharging my shields. Padlocked a bandit.
Oh!
Oh, hey! Not too far from ring. Got 10.
Reloading. We should head that way. Forget that.
Heads up. The ring's moving.
Another bogey. Watch yourself.
Where'd my other Mozam go?
Point jumping.
Dude, this game is so bad, man. Oh, there it is.
Shield core here. Level 3. Alert 5. Valkyrie on station. Let's go this way.
Unless you have your own set of rockets, I'd go for burn.
Oh, I hope you picked the fast one. This is gonna hurt, man. Oh, you did not pick the fast one.
Mission card is not located in your seat pocket. Just avoid bullets. You'll be fine.
I fucked up.
Healing.
Pop in the chimney.
Covers for my own mistakes, too. Look at that.
Bogey over there. Shot at.
1 sec. Healing up.
Valkyrie launching missile. Opening fire. Less than 30 seconds. Rings nearby.
Reloading.
Bastard.
Give my shield to recharge.
Crafting over here.
I should have took the scout.
Another squad attacking. Focus.
Last ring's closing. Ready up. Giving him the chimney.
Reloading. Taking fire.
Frag out.
Charging on my shield.
Already on my mark. Firing for effect.
Thermite grenade out.
Anyone wants one left? It's gonna get loud.
Recharging shield.
Your shield to recharge. Enemy shield.
Woo, baby!
Champions.
That's what I'm talking about.